Hey, soul-centered explorers and Costa Rica livers, where it's warm and yummy and wet. Um, I would love for this to be a spark to light up a few interactions, seeing and noticing what might be alive in a few different planes of relating that you're going to be on through the placement of your inner planets on the personality and the soul realms. And how some of these interactions might be inspired planetarily, and this will not be exactly how those interactions will necessarily play out when we take into account other people's charts or other parts of them. So, firstly, the solar opposite connection. So, to take a small dose of one's opposite provides an opportunity to really shoot through the personality into the soul, like to go from one point here to really like way over there, and just to see maybe what the spectrum is to get there on both sides. But when we can take those like strong opposites, we might really come to a different understanding or a soul understanding of that, and an opportunity to shoot through that personality. Um, so, an invitation might be to tell one's life journey in 4 sentences. This was the way Bruce approached me with that, which was I found quite challenging, but also very rewarding when we got to share so succinctly what that part of our personality's journey is or has been with someone on the opposite end of the spectrum. Um, for the Mars, Venus, and Mercury placements as well as interactions, um, I would like to start with a brief description of Mars, which is this like desire for physical incarnation, a directional fire starter. Um, in the personality and the soul, it's a vehicle for sacrifice as the soul descends into matter and loses this like spiritual part of itself to really take that journey, and also the seeking of release from matter, so the spiritual essence may really be rejoined back up. So Mars being kind of like this ruler of directionality and death, and stimulation. Venus, more of as like the vehicle for the emergence of the love principle of life, focused through the will of the mind of God. So Venus also this focus of synthesis, the resolution of polarity and duality, love and this beautiful aspect of Venus. Mercury maybe as the illuminating principle. So in a personality, maybe duality and focusing on communication between people. From a soul perspective of Mercury, a planet of relatedness and a harbinger of harmony. When we bring two of those together, Mars and Venus in the Eros interaction, this is the descent into matter. So maybe trusting, or Venus's trust of the directionality of a Mars, and trusting that Mars, and just like following Mars's like will and direction, that Mars will become more perceptive, and Venus will like temper Mars's direction and focus that into what its essence is. Venus, yeah, will eventually that trusting that Mars will eventually send her where she needs to go, like, or where like they both get to go, and what's beautiful and like illustrative in matter and in Eros with that interaction. Um, Whereas the Venus-Mercury interaction, producing the hermaphrodite or hermaphroditus in Greek mythology, is more like this rise in love, this like projects and creations, and through a conscious connection of how do we rise into this intuitive consciousness so we may live in right human relation with the world, with each other, with life. And yeah, I would love to hear what, or a little bit of what kind of interactions or inspirations might come out of some of these connections that you choose to have, and just see where that essence really brings us. So this kind of Mars and Venus coming to, yeah, the essence of what is like there, or the directionality and the fire, and like seeing what like churns. Um, and Mercury kind of like, wow, how can we create something that might be really beautiful? Or what is this conscious like thought and action? Um, Wishing you all the very best, and sending you love from the chills of Colorado.